All righty. Oh, dear Lord Jesus, please let it work.
My end says live on Facebook.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Maybe we are live.
You are live.
Oh,
We
nice.
are live. Yay. Okay. I don't see us live at all, but I trust all of you. So yay. Hey, Facebook friends. So glad you're joining us this evening. We have a special guest. This is Joanna Johnson. And some of you may remember she was a boot camp challenge trainer and she left our fitness industry. Joe, was that like 3 years ago?
Oh, I think so.
3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah.
to homeschool her youngest child. And we were having a conversation the other day, and I was sharing with her that a lot of you out here, my Facebook friends and my mamas, have been struggling with this new role of homeschooling. A lot of you are professionals normally outside the home, but now you're working from home and you have to homeschool. A lot of you have multiple children in different grades, and it's been a really great challenge for you. And when Joe and I were talking, she was just, sharing some things that she did. And I thought that it would be awesome if she would share those with you. So I asked her, I said, Joe, would you please come on live and talk to all of my mamas about homeschooling and share your tips? And she said she would. So Joe, thank you so much for taking your time and sharing all of your amazingness with our Boot Camp Challenge family.
Thanks, Loris, for having me. I'm excited.
I know, get to share it all. So want to start off by saying that a lot of you may not know this about me, but I actually homeschooled my oldest, Victoria. You guys do know Victoria. And it was for a year. We lived in Chicago and I homeschooled her. And the whole time that I was homeschooling her, I loved it and she loved it. And we had so much fun. And I had Elijah, he was an infant at the time, but we just seemed to be able to get so much done in a short period of time and did a lot of, what I call practical work. So when we would do science, we'd literally go outside in the grass and study. But during that time, while we both had so much fun, it was such a good experience, I was really lacking confidence. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I had never homeschooled before. And the whole time I kept thinking, gosh, is she getting everything that she needs from me? Is this working out? And that was a constant thought in the back of my head. And then we moved back to St. Louis, and when we enrolled her in a private school, she had to take a test, and she took it, and she did amazing. And actually, I felt like the test was for me because it felt like I did a great job of homeschooling for the whole year. It had nothing to do with me. But I remember feeling that lack of confidence. So Joe, and that's what I'm hearing from a lot of my campers and a lot of our community is they don't know if they're doing it right. They're scared that their children are going to get behind and they really lack the confidence. So can we start there? And will you share with us some ways, I think, just to build up our own confidence in what we're doing?
Yes. And I think that's common for every homeschool mom. For my first few years, I was like, oh, am I ruining him? What am I doing? Yeah. So I totally agree with you. One of the things that gave me a lot of peace was one, that God entrusted me Amen. With this child. Mm-hmm. And so he thought I was good enough to train him up in the way that he should go. So I think that's the first and foremost, is that God really gave us these children to train them up. Yeah. And so he thought we were equipped, and if we're not, he will equip us as we go. Right. And I think, we are good enough. We might not have all the answers. And I can tell you, even now with the teacher's manuals training up Jaden, I don't have all the answers. But the best thing that I've learned over the years, we participate in a program called Classical Conversations. And one of the things that they taught us as moms is that it's all about being a lead learner. So being willing to sit down with your kid, dive in and say, you know what, I don't know that math problem, but let's figure it out together. There was one last week I didn't know for Jaden, and I YouTubed it. And then we watched a video on YouTube on how to do it. And I was like, oh, well, this is fantastic, and then I was able to break it down for him. So I think it's all about, if you're willing to learn yourself as a mom or as a dad, as the parent that is homeschooling, then you are good enough. You just have to be the lead learner. And I think that's the big key, is we put so much pressure on ourselves as parents that we have to know all the answers.
Right.
We don't have to know all the answers. The kids have to see, our children have to see that we love learning so that we can instill in them the love of learning.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is the first step in building our own confidence is to be confident, and it's okay to say we don't know the answer or we don't know what we're doing. And then secondly, show our children that we love to learn. And I would also guess, just tagging on to that, by showing our children that we love to learn, I mean, not only is that setting the example, but also gives them permission, I think, to know that it's okay that they don't always know the answers, and that it's okay to be wrong, and it's okay to, have to work to find the answer, that sometimes it's not all already there. So I bet it builds the children's confidence too, doesn't it?
Completely. And, if a kid wants to learn how, let's talk about Fortnite right now. If a child wants to learn how to play Fortnite, and that's like the rage, they get on and they research it and they figure out how to play the game and be the best and do this and that and whatever. And they learn all the lingo. Well, that's exactly what we have to do when we're learning anything. And so, as a matter of fact, it was a conversation Jaden and I had the other day. He wants to learn this new song in piano. And so I was telling him, I have this program, let's try it out. Let's see how this works. And he goes, it's just so hard. I go, did you say that about your video game? He goes, no, I wanted to learn that. I go, that's the same
Right.
thing.
Right.
It's all in what we want to learn. And I think that's the thing, as us as parents, we might not want to learn their math for this program, or it might not be our favorite subject.
Right.
It's just diving in together and realizing that we're getting to spend some great quality time with our children.
Right.
And it might not be something you love to learn, but we're training them up. And sometimes even in our careers, we don't always love what we're doing. There might be an aspect of our job that we don't like. And so I think that also creates the discipline then to know that sometimes we don't always get to do what we love to do, but we can find joy in what we're doing.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Can you use the gaming systems to help in your homeschooling curriculum?
So that's a really great question. And yes, one of the things that I don't particularly use Fortnite. However, we did this past year, Jaden had to write a paper. They write a paper every single week. And one of his topics, he chose Fortnite to write an entire paper on Fortnite. So yes, and it was a creative outlet for him. However, the year prior, he was really into scootering. And so I encompassed that with an entire, we did math, we did language, because there's grammar that has to be loaded. So when he was learning scootering, he wanted to go on a trip, and he wanted to pick out all these parks across the entire United States, the coolest scooter parks, And so I said, okay, great. You have to plan the entire trip. So you have to find all the parks. So find your top 5. And so he picked his top 5. After he picked his top 5, he narrowed it down to the one. After he picked that one, he had to figure out our car, how much gas it would take to get there, how much money it would cost, if we were going to have snacks, if we were going to eat out. And he had to plan the entire vacation and do an entire budget. And then after he did that, he had to write an entire report on it. And so he learned not only math, but in budgeting, but he also learned he also took it and put it into a form of written word. And so therefore it taught him a life skill too, if he gets into a career.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And so you took something that he loved, which was scootering, and then built a whole curriculum on it. So a couple questions on that. One, did you go?
We are this summer.
Well, yay.
We're supposed to.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Awesome.
I know, I'm quarantined.
Yeah. And I love how you were able to do that. And then my other question is, do you think, and I was thinking more of another game, I can't remember it now. Do you remember what the kids all played it and Jaden played it and they built stuff? Minecraft. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that was another question. Do you think that just because a lot of my campers kids play the games, my kids play the games, can they, like if they're playing Minecraft, is there a learn in them actually playing the game? Not so much taking the game and building a curriculum around it, but like while playing Minecraft, is there some good things they're learning during that, that as a parent, we can feel okay about that?
That's funny. I think science. So here, I'll tell you one. We were driving in the car and Jaden goes, "Oh, that's a white birch tree." And I said, "What? How do you know that?" And he goes, "Oh, I learned it in Minecraft." And then he started spouting off all of the gemstones that he's learned about in Minecraft and all these other things and what's the hardest. And, he started talking all about it. And I was like, oh, holy cow. So yes, I do think they can learn. I don't think that it's a foundation, but I think it's a good supplemental.
Right.
And a reward. So in our family, we don't play video games or electronics before school because as soon as I give them electronics, I've lost them.
Right.
So I definitely, that is the reward. So there's sometimes Jaden wakes up at 5:30 in the morning so he can get his schoolwork done so he can get online,
I love that. That's just a smart kid right there.
So, and he'll be like, "Mom, I'm ready to go. What do I need to do? Let's do it." And I'm like, "Oh, can we get our cup of coffee?"
That's awesome. Okay, Jojo, here's a big question that I got.
Okay.
How do you, what, they said, what tips do you have for moms that have multiple children in multiple grades? How do you homeschool more than one child?
Oh, that's a great question and so awesome. So, one of the things that I do is I create boxes, and inside those boxes, I put items in it. It's all based on age. So, let's say I have, this is real life, a toddler, one in kindergarten, and you have a third grader. So I would make a box for my toddler of something that they can do. And you're going to do 20-minute increments. So, and as soon as that 20 minutes is up, that box gets taken away. There are tons of activity boxes on Pinterest that you can create. And I create them and I put them in little clear shoe boxes. And I just throw it all together. But you can really put it on anything. Put it on a mat, throw it out, let them play with it. Might be beads and putting them on, what are those called? The pipe, the pipe cleaners.
The pipe cleaners, yeah.
It might be something like that. You might give them, I've given my toddler a bucket of ice in the kitchen and let them play with it. It just all depends on what your kids like to do and get creative with them. Give them a thing of Play-Doh. They get to play for 20 minutes while you're working one-on-one with another one. Audibles right now has free Audibles for all school age kids. And you can download all kinds of books. Jaden and I last week started reading Moby Dick because I was like, oh, this will be perfect. So at lunchtime, when we come together for lunch and we're sitting there, we just sit there and listen to Moby Dick. And then once it's over, we do a chapter a day. Once it's over, we sit and talk. And we talk about what we learned. We let the end of the week, he goes, "Oh, I do not like this book, Mom." He goes, and I go, "I know, Jaden." He goes, "But I got to get halfway through. You told me I cannot stop until we're halfway through or tell you I don't want to continue." So we always, that's a rule in our house, is we have to get halfway to the book. If you don't like it, then we can move on. But
right,
if it's really a bad book, but I think Moby Dick will be good. It's a classic.
It is yes, it's a classic, but I'm not even going to lie. And maybe you guys with little kids don't have to share this with them, but there's some classics that I did not like. and I still don't understand why they were. But some of them, though, I do adore. Okay, so Joe, what you're saying is if you have multiple children, different ages, create a box or well, I guess you just said a box for each one of them and have things in them that is age specific to them to do while you're working with whomever you need to work on at that time.
Correct.
So like what if you have like older kids, like 3 older kids? Like, I guess then they would just do their own thing, their own lesson, right?
Yeah, if the older they get. So Jaden was in 5th grade this year, and he did a lot more things independently. Um, and a lot of the kids they will be more independent the older they are, especially if they're in high school. You're not going to be helping them probably.
Right.
So this is really for the younger kids. And if you have a ton of younger kids, Legos are great. So I would, if you're having to, let's say, read a lesson in history to your 3rd grader, pick a book that will work for your 3rd grader, your kindergartner, and your toddler. Pick a book that is great for all of them, a chapter book. Or if you're reading that lesson, just read it out loud to all of them. You know, I don't know what all the public schools are doing, but let them play Legos or let them play Play-Doh and just read out loud to them. They're going to learn and they're going to hear what you're teaching.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So really it's really just those that have the littles that have to come up with that box strategy, right?
Correct. Yeah.
To keep them going. Is that hard to do? Like
No.
I only homeschooled one for a year. So I don't even know what it's like to have like 3 littles and then.
Well, I don't have 3 littles. I think because the Lord knew I would lose my mind. But I have taught at different, I have different kids at different ages, and I would have to teach one a lesson while I had to entertain the other one. And I used the box strategy a lot because it really worked for us.
Yeah. How do you feel? And that's not my right question. But thank you for that. Are you okay if I move on?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm externally processing Facebook land. So thank you for that. So how do you switch your paradigm? Like, how did you go from, I know your 2 older children, they went to school and then you started homeschooling Jaden. What paradigm shift did you have to do to make that happen? And then for you to feel successful about it and to feel great about yourself and what you were doing.
So I think the biggest thing for me the biggest paradigm shift I had to have was it was okay to cut school early. When I first started homeschooling Jaden, I was like, well, it's 8 to 3 every day, and I would jam pack our days. When you're one-on-one with a child, even if you're homeschooling 3 kids, when you're one-on-one with that child and all your other kids are doing something else that's independent work, because they might just be studying their spelling words and that's copying them over and over, right in the definition. I don't know what that looks like in your family, but for us, it was sometimes he was learning cursive while I was teaching Ryland. So, they're independently working, even if you're teaching another child. And so there are some days we're done early. And when I mean early, we might be done at noon.
Right.
And they've done every subject and we've read.
Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Tony, this is all Boot Camp Challenge Facebook.
Hey, people.
Yeah. You're doing a little snack
in the background.
I'm getting my fruit and vegetables and.
No, you lie.
Okay, you're right. But I am getting fruit.
Oh, you are getting fruit?
I am. Look at me.
Does he have face hair?
Yeah, he's got a lot of face. Tony, yeah, he's got a beard and it's gray. See how gray it is? Hey, Facebook.
Oh,
okay, a little cyber.
Tony, I need to see you.
Yeah.
Look at
Oh
that.
my, is that the quarantine look?
Yeah, I'm growing a quarantine beard.
Oh, I like it. You should keep it.
Thank you.
Probably don't have to wear a mask then.
Right on.
So go back. So what you're saying is, so your first thing was realizing that when you're homeschooling, you don't necessarily go 8 to 4 like the kids do when they go out of your home to a brick and mortar school.
Yes. And it's not going to look like a brick and mortar school. Having your kids sit there and just do work at their home, that's not homeschooling. Granted, yes, Jaden is very disciplined and so is Rylan, and they will sit and they will do homeschool. I mean, our homeschool room has a whiteboard and we have tons of books and we have desk and we have all of that. And sometimes we're not in our homeschool room and we go sit at the kitchen table and my whiteboard becomes my window,
Yeah.
my sliding glass door,
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing kids love to do. Get some expo markers, let them write on the windows and write out their problems and do their math right there, and let them fall in love with learning.
Right.
I think that was the biggest thing for me too, was the love of learning.
Mm-hmm.
I love to learn, and I will devour anything when I want to learn it.
Right.
And so I wanted that to be for Jaden as well. And I've seen that, because if you enjoy learning something and your kids see that, they're going to want to do that too. You are impressing into them and they look up to you,
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
true. So what do you say to the mamas out there who are working full-time from home and homeschooling? Do you have any advice for them?
That's tough, because when I worked for you, I was still working Victelli B-side in sales.
Yep.
And I'm not going to lie, it's very tough. And there was lots of tears shed because my heart wasn't 100% on Jaden.
Yeah.
It was split,
Yeah.
So I would be like, okay, I've got this much time to teach you, and then I've got to jump on this conference call. Okay,
Right.
I've got this much time to teach you, I've got to get on this conference call. So I think the best thing that I learned towards the end, before I was actually staying home, was turn off my cell phone.
Yeah.
Our kids are our number one,
Right.
but our jobs pay our bills,
Right.
and we want to be loyal to both. And that's really hard when you're being split. So I think, hopefully, if you're a single mom, that's even more tough right now, because
Right.
you don't have any help when you're trying to do one or the other,
Right.
But if you're parenting, you have two parents in the home, while one's working, the other one can be homeschooling, and then swap if you're open to it, and turn your phones off when you have them, because that 20 minutes of uninterrupted time in teaching and then getting them set up with something independent, they can do it. And so can the kindergartners. They can do all kinds of independent work. Copywork's a great work. Give them words to copy.
Yeah, that is such a great tip, Joe. I love what you said, which is, we all have a new normal right now. So people that are normally, going to an office, they're working from home, and their children normally go to school, and now they're homeschooling. So many changes in such a short period of time that we have to adapt and adopt. So what you're saying is, make a schedule or dedicate the time, your homeschooling time, turn off your phone, turn off your laptop, turn off your indicators, take 20 minutes or whatever to homeschool, and then 20 minutes for conference call, and then 20 minutes for homeschool, and then 20 minutes for conference call, or however that schedule looks for you, but schedule it and commit. So commit to homeschooling, and then it's just homeschooling, everything's off. Commit to work. I mean, obviously if a child runs in, you're gonna take care of them, but then you're given 100%.
Sorry, your 20 minutes was
That's right.
way long.
That's right, Tony, that's right. See, someone always is coming in. That's true. I like that strategy, Joe. I think that's so good. And something else that I would add, not around homeschooling, but I'm even thinking just for all of us now and all the time, is have grace and patience with ourselves.
Amen.
For all of us, everyone living today, this has never happened. It was 102 years ago, the last pandemic. So it's new for all. We're all navigating. So I also would say, at the end of the day, give our own selves a big kiss and hug and tell us we're awesome. And then, hopefully get enough sleep and, drink some water, move your body, and then get up and do it again.
Well, and I think the thing is that, everybody's in the same boat. So your employer knows that you have kids at home. Your customers, if you're on conference calls and little kids screaming in the background, everybody's in the same boat.
Yes.
None
And
of us
and
are
I
different.
love that. I do. And
Yeah.
that's what I think is so great. I don't know if you remember this. This went viral a while ago where this guy was on a conference call. He was a professor and his child walked in and then the infant came in and the wife came in and got him out.
Yes.
And it went viral. And I just love that that's our new normal because first of all, it's real life. So even before the pandemic, those of us that work from home still had these same things. Okay, like I'm going live, everybody, or I'm doing a podcast, everybody be quiet. And I just feel since we're all in it together, there's a lot less judgment and more grace for all of us that are, raising families and trying to work and, train up the littles and change the world at the same time,
Yes. Yes. And it's hard. I had one of my neighbors tell me, she's like, being at home, she goes, is hard.
So hard.
She goes, going to work
It's
is
so
easy.
easy.
Yes. And I said, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
And it is. And she said, she's like, I just had no idea.
Yeah. I've seen so many of that. I've seen like the teachers should, be making $1 million a year. I've seen, everybody, it's just a whole new appreciation because now we're doing all the jobs,
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so good. All right. Well, Joe, is there anything else you want to share with our community about homeschooling to make them feel better about themselves and to help them during this crazy time?
I've got a great geography thing to do. If you have littles, go download. It's called a Blob Map, and
Is that BLOB?
Blob
Okay.
mapping, and download that and let them just trace it. It's all the continents, and they'll trace it, and then after a while, they'll know exactly where it is. North America, South America, they'll know everything and where everything is. And once that happens, then you take a big old sheet cake. One of my girlfriends did this year. I learned this from her. She took a sheet cake, and at the end of the week or 2 weeks in, they turned the blob map into a cake, and it became something fun to do as the family, in all different age groups. And I think that's the key, is have fun with it.
Right.
No matter what you're learning, there's always something to turn it into fun.
Yeah, I love that. And I should probably download the Blob Map because there's a lot of places I don't know where they are. And I like cake. Tony says that you just want the cake.
Skip the blob mapping and just make the cake.
Right. And I love those resources that you gave us, Joe. Thank you for the Audibles. I did not know, and I love Audibles. I did not know they were giving it free for school age. And then let me ask you this, and you may not know this, but are the schools right now giving the parents the work for the children, and or can the parents vary and do some of the things that you're sharing with us, some of the creative things? Do you know any of that?
I think it depends on the school. I know the school district that we are in, they have, at the last time that I spoke to the moms, which was last week, for elementary, they were not equipped and ready for this. And so they don't have a process in order. I know that some of the private schools around us, their teachers get on and everything's loaded by 8:30 in the morning. And the kids actually have the teacher teaching the class via video. And then they do all the schoolwork. So I think it really depends on the district that you're in and, how equipped the school district was for that. And even if they are doing some of these things, and you need extra things to fill time so you can go to work and not put your kids in front of electronics, blob mapping's great. And if you tell them, hey, I'm going to set a timer. Timers are huge. Set the microwave timer. Say, for 20 minutes, I need you to sit here. And whatever you expect of your kids and you put into place, the first couple of days is going to be rough. Yeah. They're going to get down, if they're a toddler, every 2 to 3 minutes.
Right.
After a while, when you put them back in their seat, say, we're going to do this, they're going to catch on. I mean, Jaden got to the point where he was so disciplined. He knew, okay, Mom, set my timer. Like he asked me, set my timer. I know I need to do this. Set my timer. Right. And so it teaches discipline and structure. And I think it just makes it easy. He reads every day for an hour, and we have then conversations about what he's reading, because I'll try to read it before so that we
Yeah.
can have those conversations, or just ask really great open-ended questions if you don't have time to read the book,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
But I think timers are huge, and incorporating any of this is huge because it'll give you time to get some other work done
Right.
and not have to sit right in front of them.
Right. Wow. So it does sound like you have a lot of freedom, when
Yes.
you're homeschooling. I guess probably once you figure it out in your head and do what you said, like come up with a plan. And
Yes.
and also I like what you said too. And I don't even have young children to homeschool, but chunking it down like 20-minute increments. Like, gosh, you can do anything for 20 minutes. Like,
Right.
do this and then this and then this. And I mean, I kind of schedule my day in that anyway, which is not homeschooling, but what a great strategy for you mamas that are listening. Hopefully it makes it a little easier.
And your toddler might not do something for 20 minutes. So his boxes might need to be 10 minutes. And even if they're enjoying it, take it away, because you don't want them to keep playing it and then get bored. And then the next day, they don't want to have anything to do with that box. Whereas if you take it away while they're still enjoying it, when you bring it out the next time, they're going to be like,
They're
I
excited.
want to play that,
Yeah.
You took that away from me. I want that back, So,
Supply and demand, baby.
yeah. So awesome.
So, yeah. Oh, Jojo, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything I left out?
I don't know. I think you did. I think you covered a lot of it. I think that one more thing I would add is not all our kids learn the same. And so I think we have to change those expectations as well. You might have a kid that can sit for hours and they want to continue to do school. My niece Blair, since she's been homeschooled with her mom, they've been home, and she loves school. Colleen told me she could do school all day long. I said, it's great because she's getting one-on-one time, whereas her son, he's like, can we just be done already? She's like, I want to be done with it. Or he's like, I want to be done with this. So I think that you gotta find the niche to train your own kids. And there's nobody that knows our kids better than us.
That's what I was going to say. And that's the beauty of it. Like, you're the number one expert on your child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so if the school gives them something and it's not working for them and you're home, you're the parent. Right. You're the teacher right now.
Right.
Figure it out. And
teachers.
Figure it out and make it fun.
Say that again.
I said, figure it out and make it fun, and enjoyable. Yeah, there's going to be, you can say, let's get through this so that we can trade off and do this,
Right.
Or I think it makes it, or explain to them why it's important that they learn it.
Right.
Jaden was like, what am I ever going to use this for? And
I've said that.
It was actually really funny because it had something to do with math, and praise Jesus, my husband was at home because he was like, well, actually it pertains to scootering. And let me tell you why. And my mouth just dropped because I wouldn't have put that all together.
Right.
Oh, that's exactly why you're going to learn that,
That's right.
And I think that's the other cool thing is moms and dads, if you can pull together during this time, where I'm strong, Matt's weak, and where Matt's strong, I'm weak. Right. So we make really good teachers.
Right.
And I think that if you can pull together and have conversations and family meetings at the end of the day and find out what worked and what you enjoyed about it and what you didn't like and how can you change it. And I think conversation is key.
Amen. Literally yesterday, we weren't talking about homeschooling, we were talking about relationships. And Tony and I were just laughing how we have conversations about conversations. Like, right. we have conversations about communications. And I know that sounds funny to some, but we do that. So exactly what you're saying, at the end of the day, have conversations about what you did and what worked and what didn't work, and then make changes. And that's the beauty, is that then tomorrow you just try something new,
Right. Yeah. And I think that is so key. And I don't think that we have to stay in it. And, from what I gather from the moms around me, is they're kind of out there on their own right now. And so they'll give them guidelines, but there's nothing really that they're saying, hey, this is it. So find out what works for your kids. There are a ton of homeschool blogs and homeschool things. Classical Conversations has all of their apps right now for free.
Okay.
And I can send you that link, Lors, if you want to share that out.
I do. And I was going to also share the Audibles link. And then what was that called? Blob Map?
The blob mapping, I'll get you that as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you'll send me those, because these would be great resources for our mamas out there who are trying to do this.
Yeah. And I have a laminator, so I laminate my blob maps and then they can expo marker them away. But if not, it's really cheap. Print out a black and white copy every day and let them color it in and trace them and,
Right.
over and over.
Yeah.
That's how they learned classically. The classical method was to do it over and over and over again until it's committed to memory.
I got it. Okay. So going back to, so you said another resource was Classical Conversations has apps that are free.
Yep. And I'll send
Okay.
you that.
Okay.
And it's broken down. So it has all the timeline of the world in it. They have science, geography, history, math, times tables up to 15 that they memorize. What else is on there? Drawing blank. Anyways, they have all the core subjects, and I'll send you that. I'll send you the blob maps. I'll send you the link to Audibles.
Great.
I think that's all I have.
Oh, that is awesome. And Joe, if any of our Fit fam wanted to reach out to you, could they? If they have a
Totally.
question for you?
Yes.
Okay. So would it be best for them to just message you? Are you on Facebook?
Not really.
Okay.
So it would be best. Loris, can you just give my email?
Yeah. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yes, I can do that. And then, so any of you guys listening, if you guys have any questions, please reach out to Joanna. Didn't you just say you were also like holding like a mini webinar for all the moms on your cul-de-sac and teaching them how to homeschool?
So what we did is we actually social distance in the court and did, I taught them what I do because it's really interactive. And so we did it in the court one day and I showed them what we did. And at the end of I gave them all the art to go with it. And so there's art and science projects and it was just tons of fun. And one of the moms was like, oh, I ordered paper plates because we were studying a part of Africa. And so they made African necklaces and it was just really cool.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that. And I just love how you're really just reaching out and helping all these mamas get through this hard time. You're awesome, JoJo.
Oh, thanks.
You didn't know when you were called to homeschooling years ago that you'd be also teaching other mamas how to do this.
I never thought I would. Matter of fact, when I so we went to a co-op in kindergarten. I met this lady named Nicole that was Jaden's teacher, and praise Jesus I did, because she actually came alongside. And I think that's the other thing. Community is huge, no matter what we're doing. So, sometimes it might be great to reach out to other moms that are your kids' friends and FaceTime with them, get the kids involved, because it's not until you find a community and you know that other moms are struggling just like you. Yeah. That then you're like, okay, what can we do to make this better? And then you find your new norm and you find your way, because my way might not work for you. Right. My 20-minute increments, you might throw up your hands and be like, this is just, she's crazy insane, but that's when I think the community is so big, and it's big for our kids too. Right. And seeing their friends' faces and being in touch with people, because we can only take so much of just our peeps, I know. Yes, I do. Well, Joe, thank you so much for spending time with us tonight and giving us such great resources and tips. And we'll get those links to all of you guys that are listening. Also, I will, in the description, I'll put in JoJo's email so you can email her direct. And Joe, you know how we always wrap things up. Do you remember? It's been a while. Hoo-ah, right? Yeah, put your hand in there. Put your hand in there on top of my, all right, on 3, it's a hoo-ah. 1,
2, 3. Hoo-ah! All right, Joe, I love you so much.
Bye,
Thank
Lauren.
you.
Thank you. Bye.